Good morning and welcome to Factotum Life. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to our channel. The truck that I'm standing in front of today is a 1994 Dodge Ram 3/4 ton gas V8 with the 5.9 liter. This truck I have owned since 2005. In that time, I've used it primarily I've put roughly about 20,000 miles on it. Its age is starting to show. We're going to do a full tune-up. This thing has not had a tune-up done in 16 years. Last year I replaced the ball joints on the driver's side because I had the axle shaft out and replaced a U-joint. We're going to go ahead and replace the ball joints on the other side and finish up that project. On top of ball joints, once in a while I get a whiff of coolant in the cab, and I'm going to assume that we probably have a heater core that's starting to kind of leak. And on top of the heater core, the air conditioning doesn't work. It seems to be leaking out the evaporator. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the dash down. We're going to pull out the evaporator. We're going to replace the heater core on it. And then we're going to try to get this air conditioning up and running, because this truck I actually mostly drive now in the summer. We store it for the most part in the winter, just because if I drive it in the winter, it's going to rot out and there won't be anything left. That's what we have going on. This truck right now is, for the most part, I really like these trucks, and I think they get a bad rap. A lot of people will have these with the diesels in them, and they really like the diesels, but the gas engines, and I don't know, the trucks in general back in the day kind of got a bad rap for reliability and for longevity, that sort of thing. But I don't think these trucks are really all that bad. A little background on this: if you're not familiar with this truck, this was the first year they came out, Dodge came out with this body style in 1994. And prior to 94, the 93 model was really just kind of a boxy square body truck with not a whole lot of comforts to it. Majority of the people bought the trucks in 1993 and earlier for the diesel engine, which is obviously most people know as the Cummins. And in 1993, they sold 75,000 Dodge pickups. And then in 94, when they came out with this new body style, which is the second generation, they sold 195,000 trucks. So a big bump. And they've been popular ever since. Each year seems to sell a few more thousand. So besides mechanical work on this truck, what I am going to be doing here, hopefully at some point, is I want to start rectifying some of this rust. And a lot of this is fairly cosmetic. I went through and chiseled the rust off of part of the frame last year, just because it was very rusty in this area, and I was concerned that there really wasn't much of the truck left to repair. So I went ahead and chiseled the frame. I knocked a ton of rust off, and I went ahead and protected it, painted it, kind of slowed that whole process down. I still need to do that for the rest of the truck, the rear end. We have body panels that are rusting out. It's by far not a perfect truck. And then the last bit here is we need to disconnect our fuel line. See if we can get that in there. All right, now we have the fuel rail off, so what we're going to do is we're going to pop off our clips. The injectors, it's not like it has been in years past, or I don't do this every year. The last time I think I did this was sometime 10 maybe, I don't know, somewhere in there. I had taken the fuel rail off and basically filled it up with like an acid and then cleaned it out really well. In the last couple of years, I have stopped using fuel with ethanol because it sits so much. I didn't want the crap getting introduced. So we've done that. The fuel rail, I could get a brand new one for like an overstock unit from Chrysler for like 187 bucks. We're going to try to save this. And the only reason why I'm saying I'm going to try to save it is that, again, this is a third vehicle. Don't use it that much, but when I do use it, I want it reliable. So, of course, we gotta weigh those issues. So, we'll take a look here. But in the meantime here, we're going to clean up these injectors a little bit. Got a little bit of corrosion. So what we're going to do is we're going to put okay, we got some rust dissolver gel. Now, this has worked for me. I'm not saying it's right, and I'm not saying it's repeatable or should be repeated. But that's what we're doing. Okay, so what we have here, there is a filter down there, and we've got a special remover here. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin it in. Ooh, that's not good. Now we've got acid all over. All right, we've got our acid cleaned out.
looks pretty good. Don't really see any large chunks. So I think this has been a reasonable success for right now. Doesn't look pretty, but the truck doesn't look pretty. And what we're just doing is we just need it functional. Prior to taking this apart, it actually was fairly functional. We're talking a number of years have gone by since I've done anything, and the injectors don't seem to be too terribly plugged. So we'll continue on here. I'm going to just put a little bit of Marvel Mystery Oil to... Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is we have our new little filter in. We're just going to put it in and give it a little bit of a tap. There we go. We're going to do this 8 more times. We're going to put the O-rings in, and then we're going to reassemble this. It doesn't look pretty, but it will work. I didn't find really any of the basket filters completely plugged up. They don't look fantastic, but it's not horrible. So
well, what's going on, Dad?
just making sure we don't have any fuel leaks.
Yeah. Stop, you're in front of the camera. It's out of the milk.
All right, we have finished out taking off the injectors and the fuel rail. We've cleaned out the fuel rail. I've installed the new injector seals and the injector filter baskets. And we got the truck back running. So the next step in this project is we are going to replace we're going to do a tune-up. And right here is all our products. We've got our spark plugs. We have our wire set, cap and rotor. What is this? I don't even know what that is. Oh, that's part of the air conditioning. We have the pickup coil, or the pickup for the ignition. And then that's about it. So this is, I guess it's questionable if I need this, or really, I don't know. It's been 16 years since this truck has had any sort of tune-up. I've never replaced the spark plugs on this. Allegedly, it had been done not too many miles before I bought it. I replaced all the ignition stuff except for the coil when I got it, and I used all Mopar parts.